You ever feel like you're just moving through life with the brakes on? That feeling of resistance, where everything feels like a struggle. It's this kind of internal friction. Well, what if I told you there's an ancient, super practical tool for this exact problem? A simple, 4-step maintenance check for your life's engine. Does this look familiar? That feeling of just slamming the accelerator, but you're not really getting anywhere? You're burning a ton of fuel, making all this noise, but progress just feels slow and really stressful. This is exactly the feeling we're going to diagnose and fix today. Now, the tool we're going to use is thousands of years old, but its real purpose, as a practical problem-solving method, has kind of been lost in translation over the years. So, we're going to strip away all those complex layers and get right back to its core function as a powerful diagnostic tool for any system. Okay, so you've probably heard of this framework by its common name. But let's be honest, when you hear the words noble truths, it kind of makes you think of some religious doctrine that you either have to believe or reject. But what if that translation totally misses the point? Let's just reframe this. So on the left, you've got the common translation. But on the right, here's a much more accurate, more practical meaning, the 4 actionable facts. See, this isn't about believing in some big capital T truth. It's about looking at 4 undeniable facts in a situation so you can actually do something about it. And this is where it gets really interesting. If we look at the original Pali word, Ariyasacca, Arya doesn't just mean noble. A better sense of it is moving in the right direction. And Sacca, that's not some kind of mystical truth. It's an unshakable fact, like gravity. So Ariyasacca is really about the set of unshakable facts you have to face to move in the right direction. Pretty cool. So think of it less like a sermon and more like a diagnostic sequence, just like when a mechanic plugs a computer into your car. It's a universal process for spotting an error in literally any system, your job, a relationship, your own head, and then finding the fix. So here's the thing. Half of this whole process is just about understanding the problem with absolute clarity. So let's jump into the first 2 steps and see how this whole diagnostic kicks off. Here it is, our roadmap. It's 4 really logical steps. First, you diagnose that there's a problem. Second, you analyze what's causing it. Third, you confirm that, yep, there's a solution. And fourth, you apply the prescription to fix it and stop it from happening again. Simple, clear, and super effective. Step 1 is Dukkha Sakka. Now, let's forget the usual heavy translation of suffering. A much more practical way to think about it is simply the fact of friction. It's just a non-judgmental acknowledgement that, hey, this system is under pressure. It's feeling heat and stress. Something just isn't running smoothly. Think of it exactly like this. That engine overheat light comes on your dashboard. Your first job isn't to get mad at the car or pretend the light's not on. It's just to pull over and accept the plain fact, there is friction. The system is overheating. That is it. That's step 1. Okay, so we've acknowledged the engine is overheating. Now for step 2, Samudaya, or the cause of the friction. Why is it overheating? Well, the diagnostic points to one single source. That energy we create when what we want fights desperately against the way things actually are. The original Pali word for this is just fascinating. Samudaya breaks down into parts that mean something like to bind together and to flow. So you can think of it as the energy that binds us and tries to force a situation to flow in the one direction we want it to go, totally ignoring reality. It's the energy of clinging. And here is our car analogy in a nutshell. The reason the engine is overheating: we're driving with the parking brake pulled all the way up while flooring the accelerator. Our desire is the foot on the gas. Reality is that parking brake. And all that noise, all that smoke, and all that heat, that's the friction we are creating ourselves. So we've identified the problem and its direct cause. And you know what? That's the hard part. The good news is, once you know what's wrong, the solution becomes incredibly simple. So let's move on to the last 2 steps. Step 3 is Nirodha, which just means the fact of cessation. And this isn't some mystical, far-off state. It's just a logical confirmation. If the friction is caused by the parking brake, then that friction will absolutely 100% stop the very moment you release the brake. And this is the really beautiful part. The instant you let go of that resistance, the moment you release that brake, the overheating stops. The stress just disappears. It's not something you have to wait for or hope for. It is the immediate result of removing the cause. It's not magic, it's just logic.
And finally, we have step 4, Magga, or the path to smooth operation. So, the car has cooled down. How do we drive it from now on so this doesn't happen again? This step is basically the new set of operating instructions.
This is your new driver's manual. In the original version, this is called the 8-fold path, but you can just think of it as 8 key maintenance checks and driving habits. It's all about learning how to check your gauges, adjust your speed to the flow of traffic, and just navigate the road of life with a bit more skill to create a smoother ride for yourself.
Okay, let's bring this all home. We've taken this ancient framework, we've stripped it down to its mechanical core, and we've turned it into a practical tool that you can start using, well, right now.
So the most important thing to remember is you don't need to memorize a bunch of Pali words or become some kind of scholar. The real value here is turning this diagnostic process into 4 simple, direct questions you can ask yourself anytime you feel that friction starting to build up.
And here it is, your own personal diagnostic checklist. First, where am I feeling the friction? Just acknowledge it. Second, what outcome am I trying to force here? What am I clinging to so tightly? Identify the cause. Third, can I just let this go? Is it possible to release this grip? Confirm the solution. And fourth, how do I move forward now with less resistance? What's the skillful next step?
This 4-step process isn't really an answer. It's a method. It's a diagnostic tool, and it's a driver's manual for navigating reality. The keys are in your hand, so the only question left is, where are you going to drive next?